GIS webinar. My name is Ryan Pearson with Electronic Data Solutions. I will be introducing our Sentinel GIS software application today. This presentation will consist of a short PowerPoint that will introduce our software application. The majority of today's presentation will be a live demonstration of our software application for mosquito control. Because of the number of attendees on today's webinar, I have placed all participants on mute. You may hear me, but this will help avoid any background noise coming from those who are participating using speakerphones at their location. I am recording today's webinar, so this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel and at our website shortly following today's presentation. I do wish to thank each of you for taking the time today to participate in this Sentinel GIS webinar. We expect this webinar to last about 1 hour. Answering your questions is very important to us. During today's presentation, you may use the questions dialog box found in the GoToWebinar tools on your desktop PC. Alternately, you may jot down your questions as they arise, and I will follow up with each of you in an individual phone call or by email following today's webinar, and you can pose those questions to me at that time. So please either use the questions dialog or write those questions down so that I can answer those questions that do arise. So with that, let's go ahead and begin today's webinar. As I mentioned, we'll start with a short PowerPoint, just introducing the software technology. The majority of today will be spent demonstrating our Sentinel GIS tools for larviciding, adulticiding, mosquito surveillance, and customer service requests. Sentinel GIS is software that has been developed specifically for mosquito control. First introduced in 2007, this software has been widely used by organizations involved in mosquito control across the United States and Canada. This software is built upon the Esri GIS technology. I'll talk more about why we standardized on the Esri GIS technology on our next slide. Sentinel GIS does support both office use and also field operations. I'll demonstrate the office tools that would be used by a supervisor or manager on the desktop PC to prepare projects for the field technicians and to review maps and to generate reports. During today's presentation, I'll also demonstrate the field tools that will be used by field staff for recording their daily work activities. Sentinel GIS does provide tools for creating and updating maps, for managing mosquito control data, and for generating reports on those activities. Sentinel GIS is a desktop PC-based solution. This means the software installs very easily to desktop PCs, is managed on desktop PCs in the office, runs on a variety of field devices, field PCs for use by your field technicians. So why do we standardize on the Esri technology? The primary reason we have standardized on the Esri desktop GIS technology with Sentinel GIS is simply that most small government agencies use this software already for map creation and for data management. By building our software upon that platform, it's very easy to implement our software tools since the Esri technology is already in place in most organizations. The second advantage is that Esri maintains the product foundation. Our software developers do not need to focus their time or attention on maintaining that product foundation. It's all done by Esri. Our software developers simply focus upon those software tools and resources required by our mosquito control customers. This allows us to react rapidly to software enhancements requests and to providing further revisions and updates to our software in a timely fashion. The next advantage of using that Esri technology is that there are plenty of map resource options available because so many organizations use the Esri technology, there's a variety of background map data available, either through commercial data sources or through authoritative data producers. So commercial, I'm talking about data provided by Google Maps or Bing Maps, for example, aerial photography that can be implemented into the Esri technology very easily. The authoritative data content would be information created and maintained by local governments, such as property ownership records, wetland delineation data, much more accurate and localized data than is available through those commercial data providers. Sentinel GIS does place no limits on the Esri GIS technology. For those customers who really utilize the power of the Esri GIS software, our software does not place any limits on how that core application is used. Of course, Esri is a long-term industry leader. Since 1978, they've been providing desktop and server-based software, desktop and server-based GIS software products. Lastly, Electronic Data Solutions is a gold business partner with Esri. This means that we have access to a tremendous number of resources within the Esri organization in relation to software development and testing. This just means that our software is always going to be compatible with the latest versions of the Esri technology as they're released. So let's get back to talking about Sentinel GIS. Sentinel GIS does support traditional mosquito control activities. This includes activities related to larval surveillance and larviciding, controlling mosquito larvae, adult mosquito surveillance and disease surveillance, customer service request, and ULV adulticiding. ULV adulticiding, our software is directly compatible with foggers from Clark, from Linen Fog, from Curtis Dynafog, and from the Phoenix Fogger line available through Target. So we are plug-and-play compatible, recording chemical applications using ULV adulticide foggers from those companies. Sentinel GIS software is provided as software modules. This means that our customers can pick and choose which software tools best benefit their organization and only implement those tools. For example, on the West Coast, many organizations do very little adulticiding. They focus very heavily on larval surveillance and larval control. As such, they choose not to purchase the adulticiding software application, which they're free to do. That's just an example of the flexibility of our software implementation, which really meets the demands of our customers. I'll demonstrate each of the 4 software modules during today's software demonstration. As I mentioned, Sentinel GIS is a desktop PC-based software solution. I will demonstrate the Sentinel GIS administrative tools that are used directly inside of ArcGIS. Of course, the map viewing and report generation is done directly inside of ArcGIS. Synchronization with field PCs does occur directly with a desktop PC. I'll demonstrate that synchronization process using our DataLink GIS software. Sentinel GIS is a complete mapping, data management, and reporting software tools for mosquito control. And I'll also demonstrate the software tools used by field technicians to record their daily work activities. So some of the functionality found in Sentinel GIS includes the ability to map all field activities. Technicians have the ability to map the locations of mosquito breeding sources or sites. Another example of mapping functionality would be connecting a field PC to the ULV fogger to record location, pump status, whether the pump's on or off, and the chemical flow rate for adult mosquito control. Another example of field activities would be mapping surveillance activity locations, whether it be a landing count site or an adult trap location or location for chicken sentinel flocks or blood samples from, tissue samples from dead or dying birds. Sentinel GIS does also record pesticide use. This is very important in meeting those regulatory requirements by state and by federal government. So each time a pesticide is used, you're recording the type of product that was used, how much of the product was used, location and address that the pesticide was applied, what type of habitat, received the application, what kind of equipment was used, and the environmental conditions at the time of treatment. Much of this information is required now to be compliant with the MPDES permits that are being issued for pesticide use. Additional functionality found in Sentinel GIS. The tools in Sentinel GIS are really designed to support field activities. Some examples of this would be providing reference maps for the field technicians to use. On the handheld devices, the technicians are able to see their position in relation to background map information, used for navigation, used for decision making. That background information is updated continually, which is very valuable. Sentinel GIS software by design does prioritize tasks by location, activity, and importance. This just allows the technicians to identify which tasks have the highest priority and focus their time and attention to those activities. Another example of how Sentinel GIS supports field activities is the ability for technicians to review history, site history for previous inspections and previous treatments at a specific location. Other tools for decision making include chemical calculator, which helps technicians determine how much product to use to treat an area of a certain size or defined size. The goal of Sentinel GIS is to really increase efficiency. The data synchronization process, the automatic updating of maps and data is a very effective time-saving component of Sentinel GIS. Ideally, this level of synchronization and automation will reduce the cost of operation for any organization. Sentinel GIS does include a set of reporting tools to report on field activities, chemical use, lots of filterable reports that I'll demonstrate during today's webinar. Some examples of the reporting would be pesticide use by amount and location, and also summary reports showing how much product was used in a given time span, for example. We do have the ability to generate field technician activity reports, as well as site history reports. And I'll demonstrate some mosquito abundance and disease surveillance reports as well. The real benefit of Sentinel GIS is that the information is current daily. The map is updated constantly. This includes complete and up-to-date records for pesticide use and any other activities. So with that, I am ready to provide the product demonstration. For those who have joined the webinar after it began, I do appreciate you taking the time to join today's webinar. Please use the question dialog in the GoToWebinar tools. If you do have questions during the presentation today, I want to answer any questions you may have. Alternately, you may jot down those questions, and I will contact you following today's webinar where I may answer those questions for you. I'm going to go ahead and minimize the PowerPoint presentation now, and I'm going to pull up ArcMap from Esri. So those unfamiliar with the Esri product, I'm looking at the Esri component called ArcMap. ArcMap is a desktop GIS software designed for creating maps very quickly and easily for viewing information. Looking at the top up here, the top part of the application, this is the standard Esri ArcMap tools for panning and zooming the map, for interacting with your data, for selecting items. Down the left-hand column is what is called the table of contents. This basically shows what layers are available in this map project, whether or not that layer is visible currently. Those layers that have a check mark in front of the layer in this project are the ones that are currently visible. The boxes that are not checked are layers that are currently invisible. We just don't see them on the map. Right now I'm looking specifically at Volusia County in Florida. This is some sample data that I have created. The road networks and other data that is visible in the background I obtained from the Volusia County GIS office. This includes parcel records. This be a Volusia County base map. I have not zoomed in far enough to make those visible yet. Volusia County zones and the district boundary. I've also pulled in some world imagery. So for example, if I wanted to see aerial photography, I could pull up this world imagery resource. It's going to update the map here as it tiles in those tiles in the imagery for that area I'm looking at in Volusia County. I'm not going to leave that graphic on for the entire presentation simply because I want the graphics to work better in a webinar fashion. So I'm going to turn that imagery back off, but I do have that imagery available in my project. So if you look on the left-hand side, you'll notice that our mosquito control data, we are for larviciding, identifying mosquito breeding sources in 3 geometries, as a point, as a line, or as a polygon. An example of a point feature could be a catch basin, a decorative container. Lines could be bar ditches, drainage ditches, backwater areas on streams. Polygons would be ponds, pastures, any place, a swamp, any place that holds water where larvae can be found. The colors tell the technicians and the office manager what kind of activity needs to occur at these mosquito breeding sources. So any site that's green, like you see on the map, are sites where no action is required. This does mean that this site was recently inspected by a technician and no larvae were found, or more commonly, this site was inspected by a technician and was treated to control the larvae at that site. This site will remain green for a defined period of time. If this, for example, if this site is treated with a 30-day pesticide, with a 30-day residual, this site will remain green for 30 days. At 31 days, the site will change automatically to blue. Blue indicates that a technician needs to do an inspection at that site. Any site that's red, I have one down here called catch basin number 15. Any site that's red has been inspected and larvae were present, and the level or numbers of larvae present justified a pesticide application. This site is awaiting a treatment. Any site that's red is awaiting a treatment. That just gives you a quick rundown on symbology in our larviciding application. Sentinel GIS is an extension to the ArcGIS desktop. So this toolbar that I'm moving on the screen here is our Sentinel GIS application. We have tools here specific to our adulticiding activities, tools specific to our larviciding activities, software tools specific to our surveillance activities, and tools specific to our service request activities. I'll demonstrate each of these 4 modules during today's presentation, both the office tools and the field technician tools used on the mobile field PCs. So I'm going to start by demonstrating some administrative type tools, and we'll be starting with the larviciding application. So in larviciding, there are several things that an administrator has to do to successfully deploy the software to a mobile device. The primary activity would be creating the pick list that will be used by the field technician. For example, employee names, habitat types for mosquito breeding sources. Those kinds of pick lists need to be managed by an administrator in the office. We do that using this mobile application configuration utility. I'll go ahead and select that. So there's several tabs across the top, and we'll just quickly look at a couple of these tabs and some of the options that are there. This first tab is our general tab. This is where you can select whether to use U.S. measurement systems or metric measurement systems for calculating distance and area and measuring fluid volume, for example, weights. This is where you also filter how much device how much history for sites you want to carry to the device. I'm only filtering to the last year. This means every site, mosquito breeding source on my handheld device, I will be able to review the inspections and treatment history for that location for the last 12 months. Let's jump to our pick list option. Under pick list, I do have a number of pick lists here, such as employee name. As changes are made seasonally to your organization, you can quickly and easily update this information to reflect the employees that are working currently. On the handheld device, when I log into the application, I'll be asked to identify who I am. Any inspection or any treatment will have my name associated with that record permanently. Another pick list type would be habitat types. Here's a list of just 5 habitats I put in here. You, of course, would have a much more complete habitat list in this dialog. I can add to or take away from this list of habitats very easily. So I can put in something called a settling pond if I want to put in something like that. Let's say it's a 10-day inspection cycle. If there's no larvae present, I'll be asked to come back in 10 days. Another example that I can do here would be, a woodland pond. I'm just providing examples of how this pick list can be modified and updated and then sent to the handheld device upon synchronization. I can sort this by tapping the button up here at the top and saving that sort, so it'll show up in this order on the handheld device. Under the Products tab are the list of products that would be used for controlling larvae. This is not a complete list of products that are used. You would simply modify this list to reflect the pesticide tools that are used within your organization. So if I select the AlphaSid XRG granules, you notice that it brings up information about this product, including the EPA registration number and the and the minimum application rate, maximum application rate based on the label. 5 pounds per acre to 20 pounds per acre is the treatment range. It is a 21-day product. Let's choose a liquid product now. Instead of pounds per acre, it'll be ounces per acre. So here's AlphaSid SR5, 7-day product. 3 ounces per acre to 4 ounces per acre is the preferred treatment rate based on that label. We can look at the pouches. These are applied as 1 pouch per 50 square feet. This is used to treat a storm drain. So there's just some information about the different products that are used that are entered into this. This information is used to help the technician determine how much product to use to treat an area of a certain size. So it's an automated set of tools. So this is examples of how you configure the software to be deployed to the mobile device. I'm going to go ahead and press close here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to connect a mobile device and show you those tools that will be used in the field by a technician to map mosquito breeding sources, to record inspection data, to record pesticide applications, to review site history. So I'm going to show some simple tools used by the technician in the field. I'll then come back on the desktop and show you some reporting mechanisms that are built into the software so you can get an idea of what kind of work's been done. And then we'll move on to our adult assigning software tools after that. So what I'm doing now is I'm simply connecting a mobile device. This is a Windows mobile device called a Mesa. I'm connecting it to my PC using a USB cable. Once communication has been established with that Mesa device, our software called Link GIS will automatically launch. You should see that on the screen. And it will automatically send and receive files managing the data between that mobile device and the desktop PC. So those changes I made to the pick list on habitat types adding woodland pond and a settling pond have been sent over to my handheld device automatically. Had there been new and updated data on the mobile device, it would have brought that data back and merged it automatically with our database. So Link GIS is our software that sits on the desktop PC that manages all the data that's sent between mobile devices and the desktop PC. So this particular PC has a relationship with 7 different mobile devices. Each one of these mobile devices have been assigned data sets based on how they're being used in the field by a technician. So this is all managed in Link GIS automatically. So let me connect to my mobile device and show you how this software is operated. The mobile software, once again, this is a Mesa field PC. It's running the Windows embedded handheld operating system. Our software is compatible, our field software is compatible with Windows desktop PC operating systems, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8. It's also compatible with the Windows mobile operating systems, which are Windows 5, Windows 6 and 6.x, and Windows embedded handheld. I'm going to start our Sentinel GIS software application by just double selecting it on the taskbar there. I'm going to start by loading up my larviciding tools. On the handheld device, we have our software divided up into modules as well. This just allows us to keep the toolbar very simple for technicians to use. If we're going to be primarily performing larviciding activities today, then I only have tools and buttons specific to larviciding available to me, rather than mixing tools for larviciding and adulticiding and surveillance into a single toolbar. This just helps clean that field interface up quite a bit, making it very simple for technicians to use. Right now, a toolbar for larviciding is being assembled. The background map and data for larviciding is also being assembled. It takes a moment to pull this together. Once that is pulled together, the software will respond very rapidly. The first thing the software is going to ask me to do is select my identity to choose my name from a drop-down list. So I'm going to choose my name, Ryan, from the drop-down list. Once I do that, I'm going to get an error saying that there's no GPS available. I'm just going to bypass that error for this demonstration. So I'm going to log in selecting Ryan. I got an error for my GPS, and that's fine. So you can see the map that we're looking at on the desktop in the background matches what we're looking at on the handheld device. Everything's been moved over and is current on the mobile device through that synchronization process. We have a couple tabs that we work with. The first tab is a zoom in, zoom out, panning set of tools, or zoom to zone. So there are several tools here that are pretty helpful in navigating the map. This zoom to zone allows me to actually select a zone from a drop-down list. Each agency is going to have different names for their zones, whether it's a specific township name or a number or some kind of naming convention. Software will recognize that naming convention, will automatically zoom to the area that you wish to work in that day. So today we're going to work in 32169. I'll select that, zoom to it. It's going to zoom to that entire zone. 32169 happens to be this beach area in Volusia County. Well, the only data I have is up here in this very top northeast corner of this zone next to the beach. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a box and zoom in on that area. And zoom in a little bit more here so it matches what we were looking at previously here. So this matches what we're seeing in the background here, so I just zoomed back to where we were. So that's what this first set of tools, this globe set of tools is designed to do, is to zoom in and find locations. There's a binocular set of tools where I can do some finding, some find work. So if I'm looking for a specific site name or a treatment code, let's find all the sites. in 32169 that needed inspection. So this is just a way for me to create a list of all the sites that need inspection. It will be ordered based on distance from where I'm at. So just a real simple find tool. We do have a measure tool underneath there as well, so you can actually measure area using this set of measure tools. However, most of the tools for larviciding is found in the Mosquito tab at the top. So under the Mosquito tab, I do have a select arrow where I can grab that select arrow and select any site. When I select that site, other buttons become available to me. The button here, the push pin, allows me to view site information, property ownership, address, that kind of information. Here we can see the habitat type is pasture, and it's 1.43 acres in size. Excuse me. The next button over from the push pin is our inspection form. So this is where I can perform a larval inspection. I'll go ahead and record a larval inspection for this site that I have selected so you can see how those tools work. So the site condition at the time of inspection was standing water. Once again, any pick list that you see, like you just saw with site condition, is configurable by a supervisor. Next inspection date is automatically set for 12 days from now based on habitat type. I can override that as a field technician, particularly if I'm working in a study or need to follow up in a 24-hour increment and 48-hour increment. I can schedule that accordingly. How many dips did I take in the field? I can, of course, enter in, say I took 5 dips. The average number of larvae per dip, let's say, was 3. There's no pupae present. The adult biting activity was very minimal. Larval stages that were present were 2nd and 3rd instar. Here's the history information. So I mentioned that we can view all the inspection and treatment history for any site. If I press this H button, I can come back and review all the previous inspections that have occurred at this site over the last year. So it shows date and time that occurred, what those results were for that larval surveillance. And I can just go back through history and see this information for the past year, since I set that as my filter. I do have multiple tabs across the bottom. The only required information is found on this first tab. If I want to record activity, how much time I spent doing this inspection, I can record this here. And then any other comments would be on this comments tab at the end. Now we do have a powerful tool here for those who are involved in identifying larval species. You do have the ability to use this larval tab and actually create a sample to take back to the laboratory for identification. So I can go ahead and type in a sample ID number, create that sample, and then can add a field ID, which means in the field I might be able to tell what genus it is. So larval count in this sample is 5. There was no eggs. The field species, if I had it by genus, I'd be able to select the genus. I only have genus and species in this pick list right now. Let's say it's QX tarsalis that I identified in the field. Larval stages were all 2nd and 3rd instar. No adult biting activity. And we'll save that. This is going to come back now as a record for my office laboratory workers to identify. So there were larvae present at this site. The software recognizes that larvae were present at this site. And now, as a technician, I have to determine whether the number of larvae present sufficiently meets that action threshold in my pesticide discharge management plan. So the question is asked, do the site conditions require treatment? I'm going to select yes, and it's going to bring up my treatment form for recording a pesticide application to that area. So that site by default was 1.43 acres in size. I can choose a product from the drop-down list. Let's come down and say we're going to use some Vectilex CG. I don't know how much product to use to treat 1.43 acres, so I'm going to use my calculate button. This is going to give me a minimum and maximum application rate. I could put in a preferred application rate, 5 pounds per acre, whatever it is that we prefer. But I'm just going to see a minimum and maximum application rate. So to treat 1.43 acres, I should use between 7.155 and 28.62 pounds. Anything within that range meets the label guidelines. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter in that we treated it with 12 pounds of product, which falls within label rates. Once again, the letter H here, this gives me the ability to review historical treatments for this site. So I can come back and review that very quickly. I do have the ability to enter site information, which would be my environmental conditions. So the wind direction, wind speed, temperature at the time of treatment. In some areas, this information is required for reporting. And then we can press OK. And this will be recorded. This site will be green, and it's going to be green for however long the Vectalex product is effective for. We do have the ability to map new sites. Normally, we would use GPS to map a point, a line, or a polygon while we're in the field, but I can't sketch new sites. So I'll just go ahead and sketch a site. When I'm done, I press this red button here. And a new site will be created and will be synchronized to my PC. I got to give it a name. This is going to be, I'm just going to call it new site. It does automatically detect that it's in zone 32169. I do have to define the habitat. We'll go ahead and call this woodland pond, which is one of the new habitat types that I added to the list. It's the priority level. This is a medium priority site. It's 1.9567 acres in size. If I had owner information, I could type this information in, including who to contact or how to gain access to this property. There's an access tab as well. This will tell you gate access codes, whether or not there's pets on site. This information is not required. I'll go ahead and press OK. There's a new site that's been added. You can see it here on the desktop. It's blue indicating an inspection is required. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and, one last tab. I have my service request tool, or my service request application embedded in my larviciding set of tools. So here inside larviciding, I can review all the service requests I've been assigned to Ryan. So let me bring that up. It's going to bring up a list of service requests here. I don't have any visible in my map right now, so I'm not sure there's going to be any there. I'm getting an error where I need to have my GPS turned on. This tool may not work without the GPS turned on. What it will do is find all the service requests that are closest to me, sort them based on distance. Since I don't have a GPS signal, I'm getting an error message every second here. I'll see if I can get out of this here. The service request tools are available to me in the field where I can respond to calls as they come in from the public, and I'll show how those service requests are created in just a moment. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and come back to my larviciding, and I'm going to exit out of the program. Before the software will fully exit, it does give me the opportunity as a technician to review my work. So if I select yes, it's going to bring up a list of all the inspections and all the treatments that I've done this day, and I can select them in order and review them, having a chance to change them if needed before I actually synchronize them with the server. So this is a good way for your technicians to review their work, make sure it's accurate before they synchronize it with the server. There's also tools on the desktop that allow supervisors to review that work at any time. So I'm going ahead and close that application. I'm going to go ahead and pull that USB cable out of my computer. I'm now going to just plug it right back in so that you can see the automated process for synchronizing that data back to the Esri geodatabase. I simply plug back in here. The application automatically detects the mobile device and starts retrieving new and updated data from the mobile device and archives it, and then synchronizes it or merges it with the geodatabase. Once this process is done, the Link GIS software will automatically send the new and updated information back to the handheld device. So I just wanted to show that automated process here real quick. It is now sending the data to the handheld device. Rather than waiting for that to complete, I'm now going to jump into well, first let me do the refresh button here at the bottom. That way you can see that the new site has been merged into the geodatabase successfully. So that new site has appeared here. In larva siting, we have the ability to generate chemical use reports, different types of reports. I'm going to go ahead and do a chemical use detail, which will show each individual treatment. I'm not going to filter based on date ranges or anything like that, this is actually going to create a report specific to 5 chemical types. So we'll give that a moment to run here. I'm going to change that report. I needed to clear the settings here to get the report that I wanted. So let me get this pulled up first. So I selected specific products, these 4 products in my pick list. So I generated a report based on zone using these 4 products. That's not the report I wanted to show first. So let me clear those settings, chemical use detail, and this will show every treatment that's occurred. So first just organize it by zone, then by product, and then treatment dates, site name and the technician, how large of an area was treated, how much product was used in total, as well as how many acres were treated. Multiple pages of this report where I can toggle to the next page. You can see the treatment from today on February 12th. We treated the pasture. It was done by Ryan, 1.431 acres in size. We used 12 pounds of product. And it was a Vector-Lux CG. So between the 18th of December and the 2nd or the 12th of February, we used 22 pounds of product on that site. That's an example of one of the report types. Other tools, we do have the ability to review daily work. So there's a nice supervisor tool for reviewing daily work. So I can come back and look at the last week, for example, from February 5th through today, get those records. We have records for the 5th, the 7th, and the 12th, all by field technician Ryan. On the 5th, I have 3 inspections, 0 treatments. I can review that work, so I can review each inspection and see exactly what was done and make changes if needed as a supervisor reviewing this work. So that's a very nice tool. The other thing I have the ability to do, which is very nice, is I can select a site on the desktop. And in larva siting, I have the ability to actually record inspection and treatments right on the desktop PC. I do have to start an editing session. I can then select a site, like a new site right here, come into larva siting, and I can actually pull in and create an inspection record for that site. So this was done by Ryan. Standing water. We took 4 dips, 2 larvae per dip on average. Few adult biting, few adults biting. Larval stages were all second instar. Small fish were not present. How much time did I take doing this? 15 minutes, doing a routine inspection. Save that. I had an error in there on one of the entries here. I had to put in a 0 there. So this site turns red, indicates that a treatment's required based upon the inspection results. So I just wanted to show that we can actually record the inspections and treatments right on the desktop rather than using a handheld device if needed. Come back and change that data. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my larval data. I'll turn on some fogger data and zoom into that location. So we'll jump to adulticiting now. We'll show how our software works with adulticiting, ULV mosquito spraying. Under adult siting, we do also have a mobile application configuration utility where we create pick lists. So in these pick lists, we have things like employee names, who the users are. Under equipment, this is where we list the kind of foggers we're working with and the communication parameters and assign them to a truck. So in this instance, I have Clark SmartFlow assigned to Clark SmartFlow 1 assigned to truck 1. Truck 3 has a London fogger in there. If I select one of these buttons up here, London Fogger 1, it shows me what the communication parameters are. This means when I get into a truck and select that I'm driving truck 3, it automatically knows what fogger's in truck 3 and how to the software knows how to communicate with it. We do have a chemical tool here where we record information, including EPA registration number on the different chemicals that are used for fogging. I'm going to go ahead and just jump over and demonstrate the fogging tools on the mobile device real fast. So I'll choose adult siting this time. Once again, it's going to assemble a toolbar and background map specific to my adult siting activities. It takes a moment for that to occur. Once the toolbar and the data has been assembled, a login form will be presented. The login form will ask me to identify who I am and which vehicle I'm driving and what chemical product I'm using, and enter in environmental conditions. Since I'm indoors, I will have to trick the mobile device into thinking it's getting a GPS position so it tracks correctly. So there will be a little setup where I select a utility called Fake GPS to simulate GPS reception. So that will take just a moment during the beginning of this part of the demo. So once again, the first thing I'm asked to do is to identify who I am, what I'm doing. So I'm going to be fogging, what truck I'm driving. Truck 1 was that Clark SmartFlow, so I'll select that. What chemical I'm using. This won't change for the night, most likely. If I did have a fog route defined, a specific route I wanted my drivers to follow, I would select that from this drop-down list. Right now I am not using a fog route, so I can basically drive anywhere and apply chemical. What's the environmental conditions at the time I start this fogging session? We'll say it's 81 degrees. Wind speed was less than 5 miles per hour out of the south, directly out of the south. I'll go ahead and log in. It's going to show the map for a second and give me a GPS error, but then it's going to toggle over to a status screen showing my speed over the ground. I'm going to come back to view map and trick the device into thinking it's getting a GPS position, and then I'll go back to that status screen and explain what was there. So this is just setting it up to make the device think that it's getting a GPS position when it's not. It takes just a moment to get this established. Okay, so now on the map you're going to see us moving around like you would expect to see. This is us driving, the red bullseye crosshair. The green diamonds indicate the pumps turned on in this map. Red diamonds indicate the pumps turned off. This is recorded second by second. I'm going to come back to that status screen and kind of give you an idea of what's visible to the driver here. So we do have a status banner at the top. Right now it shows that the fogger's on. It now switched to fog off. So that means no chemicals flowing right now. This is our speed. This is the flow rate in ounces per minute. This shows that we are successfully communicating with our fogger. Had there been a red X in this corner right here, it would indicate that there was a communication problem with the fogger. This box is new. We are now compatible with the new Mountain Innovations 150 portable weather sensor that can be mounted to a vehicle. If I was connected to this, I would be recording environmental conditions every second during my fogging sessions. So this would be wind speed, wind direction, temperature, humidity, and pressure. I have it set up to record it from that weather sensor, but I'm not connected right now, so I get this red X indicating there's a communication problem. So your technician has the ability to view the status screen or to view the map, toggling over to view the map. Here on the map, they'll see that series of red diamonds and green diamonds indicating pump status off and on. When they finish a neighborhood or finish an area, they would simply press End Session. This will end that specific fogging session. And when they end that session, it's going to come up and ask them for additional data. So you could put in your mileage at the end of that session or what fog area you were in. So I was in the south fog area, for example. Let's say that's where I was at. But under the details, it'll actually give you a summary. I actually had start time and end time, a certain amount of time. I'm just going to start a new session real fast. Still fogging. The only thing I have to do is change my wind speed and direction. Now it's 6 to 10 miles per hour. Log in. We're going to start recording data again. So if I come back and view my map, you'll see that a new fog session started right here with the pump turned off since there was a red diamond first. This just shows how quickly and easily a driver can move from one neighborhood to another and immediately begin a new fogging session. We do have zoom in, zoom out tools, so if we want to zoom in tighter than we are right now, the technician could select the zoom button here and zoom in quite tight to see a little more detail on that fog session. The map will automatically pan as I get off the edge of the map. So pretty simple set of tools here. I'm going to go ahead and end this session, and we'll bring this data back to my desktop PC. What I'll do is just manually run the retrieve data using Link GIS just to speed things up. So just bringing back all that fogger data. It's now going to be computing area treated and how much active ingredient was used versus total product based on the information that was entered into those tables. So just doing some calculations. Once that's done, I'll show you a couple reports very quickly. Okay, so in larviciding, or excuse me, adulticiding, we do have the ability to filter the fogger map view. So I can filter based on a number of criteria, but I'm going to filter based on a date range. So I want to see everything from the 11th to the 12th, just an overnight period. What that will do is filter the map and show only the data that was found here. Notice it's found 2 sessions. I just created 2 sessions in that demo. So it changed the map to show only those 2 fog sessions. If I select any one of these points, there's a number of records available. So I can come in and actually pull in all the fogger relate data, which will show all the specific information about this that point in this fogging session. But I actually want to show a report here. So I'm going to generate a pesticide use map, or excuse me, pesticide use report with a map. And I'm going to do it based on the 3rd through, let's actually go from yesterday till today. So it's going to generate a report. The first page is going to be a map. This shows those fogging sessions, those 2 fogging sessions. Second page of that report shows the totals, how much product was used, how large of an area was treated. So I treated 10.46 acres that first session, 5.25 on the second, total of 15.7 acres that were treated. This can be exported. Any of our reports can be exported to a number of formats. So I could save it out as a Crystal Reports document, an Adobe PDF, Microsoft Excel, Word or rich text format in .rtf. Okay, so that shows the reports. Very simple. I like this one because it does mix the map with the report, which is very nice for record keeping. So let's talk about service requests real fast, as we are quickly running out of time. Service request is actually an intranet web application. So let me get logged in here. I do have the ability to search for specific service requests. I have a number of them in here. I can select the hyperlink on any of these, and it will bring up details about that service request. So here's the address, 805 locust, swarming mosquitoes. The technician is supposed to set a trap, reduce sources, inspect and treat as necessary at that location. So I can edit any of these service requests. I can create new ones. I can search for specific service requests. So if I wanted to, for example, I could search for Pearson using my name. And I'll find all the service requests that have been called by Ryan Pearson and who they've been assigned to. So there is a quick way to kind of look at call history based on a last name or an address or even a zip code or phone number or email address. There's a number of ways to search for these open and closed service requests. So here's Ryan Pearson, 800 Locust in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I can come in and create a new request real easy, just tapping the new create request button, entering in this information. This would automatically be assigned to a technician. So if I wanted to assign it to a specific technician, this would show up on any handheld anytime Ryan logs in. Those are visible on the map in ArcMap. So I'm going to turn off my Fogger log. I'll turn on my service requests. Zoom to that layer. So you'll see a few service requests here open on the map. There's a couple of them down here that are green. Green just means that they've been assigned. You can see these on the map. In the service request application, I have the ability to view these service requests as a supervisor, and I can filter on the basis of a number of things. So for example, if I wanted to look at the service request from Pearson, here's a list of those that came in. So very simple and easy set of tools for searching. So that's the first service request. Second one's right here. There's been 3 of them that were called in by Ryan Pearson, and another one as well. We can filter these by a number of different ways, but the powerful thing here is that I can actually select one of these service requests and review it to make sure the work's been done. And if it has been done, I can actually close that service request, and that service request will then become a gray dot on the map. So service request is a real simple tool for managing calls from the public. We do have a pretty robust set of surveillance tools. I'm running out of time very rapidly. I apologize for that. So for surveillance, we have the ability to process mosquito pools, tissue samples from dead or dying birds. So here I have this site called Industrial Site. We've already done the trap survey results. In this trap that night we found 153 females of Aegypti and 99 QX tarsalis. This information was sent off to the laboratory. If I press View Pools, it will actually show ID numbers for those pools that were sent to the laboratory, species and counts, who it was sent to, the date it was sent to, and by whom it was sent. I can print pool submission forms, so I can actually pull this up and send a form with those pool vials identifying what they are and what is in each one. And then I can print individual pool labels that would be attached to each of those vials. And then as the results come back, we'd tap over to our lab results, and it would actually show test type, and what it tested positive, a disease it was tested positive for, and then what it tested positive for, if anything. So I can show how that's done. I can select this one right here, which has not been reported on yet. I can edit those results. Say that we tested using RAMP and PCR. Oops. We tested for West Nile virus only. If it tested positive for West Nile virus, we just check it right here and press OK. Back in our results, West Nile virus will show up that this pool tested positive for West Nile virus. Then we can add this information to the maps. If I go into surveillance and generate that map activity, I don't want the configuration. I want generate map data. Here it's going to show locations of adult mosquitoes. Let's actually look at diseases instead. So this is the area where West Nile virus was positive. We had positive pools. It's going to create a map layer, show those location on there. Actually, I had a date range that was too short. Let me go back a long time so we can get multiple reports of positives here. So there's a new layer that was created. I'm going to zoom to that layer. So here's an area where we had two West Nile virus positive pools in that time frame. Down here we had one. Just a quick way to get the information onto a map so we can see that. So some pretty powerful surveillance laboratory tools. We can generate reports. So if I want to generate a mosquito abundance report, this would just show species and number of females, trap location, number of nights that were out there, just a traditional type report that you would be looking at. I don't have a whole lot of data in here to make this really robust, but it gives you an example of what kind of information is there. So we did rush through things kind of fast where I tried to show all 4 modules. For that, I hope that you found it worthwhile, but I apologize for being rather rushed. I do have a couple PowerPoint slides that I wish to finish with today. As I mentioned previously, I'll follow up with each of you following today's webinar to answer any questions you may have. Let me pull up the PowerPoint again. So the required components for Sentinel GIS are very simple. You must have ArcGIS for desktop basic or higher. Basic is an ArcView license. Many people are familiar with the word ArcView rather than desktop basic. So you must have an available ArcGIS for desktop basic or higher license. You must have a Windows-based desktop PC. This must be Windows XP, Windows 7, or Windows 8. On the mobile device, you must have a field PC that runs Windows XP 7 or 8, or Windows Mobile 5 or 6, or Windows Embedded Handheld. So we are compatible specifically with products from Microsoft on the desktop PC and on the mobile side. We do support laptops and tablets on the mobile if you wish to use those. We do provide many field PC options, including for purchase or for lease. And with that, we offer very high quality support, equipment repair, and service. For those unfamiliar with our product offerings, we do have a sister product called FieldSeeker GIS. Rather than being a desktop PC-based software like Sentinel GIS, FieldSeeker GIS is a server-based solution for mosquito control. This means that you can use web tools to access and update mosquito control data from the field rather than coming back to the office and synchronizing through a cable. It does require ArcGIS for server, so there's additional infrastructure and IT resources that are necessary to implement FieldSeeker GIS successfully. A little bit about electronic data solutions. We have been in business for 27 years providing field data collection software solutions. This includes field electronics and PCs, software that goes with those PCs for mapping and data collection. We've done a lot of system integration and, of course, very heavily involved in software development. We do have a dedicated software development team to our mosquito control software products. So we do have 4 software developers working on FieldSeeker GIS and Sentinel GIS, in addition to our project manager and our sales and support team. Electronic Data Solutions does have very diverse revenue streams, which makes us very stable financially. In the event that we have a down year in one segment of our business, the other segments of our business will keep us financially secure. We are an Esri Gold Business Partner, which, as I mentioned previously, provides us access to a number of resources unavailable to most Esri business partners, which really allows us to provide the best software solution for our customers in a timely fashion. With that, I wish to thank you. Thank you for participating today. I will contact each of you here over the next hour or two to answer any questions you may have. We appreciate your interest in Sentinel GIS. Thank you. Have a very good day. Bye.